Good morning, students. This is my second video, and it is a continuation of previous video where we have discussed about chapter our environment, introduction, and different type of waste. Now I am moving to the next topic of this chapter, that is ecosystem. Again, I am telling you, please focus on this red dot. That is a sort of marker that you have to see what I am teaching. And don't worry, I am sending these presentation notes to you, as well as notes of the whole chapter also, and assignments also on the group. So ecosystem in nature, no organism is alone. We are living, there are number of organisms living in the environment, and these all living organisms interacting with their environment also. So in nature, all living organisms interacting with each other as well as with their environment. So in this way, they form a unit of ecology or unit of environment that is known as ecosystem. So if we want to define what is ecosystem, so all living organisms in a given area interacting with each other as well as with their non-living environment, these both aggregate to form a unit that is called ecosystem. Now I am representing the ecosystem with the help of this flow diagram also. See, this is ecosystem of, in this given area, all the living organisms are also called biotic components of the system, and non-living components or environmental factors are also known as abiotic component. So in this picture, it is very clear to you, it is seen that biotic component and abiotic components interacting with each other, as well as the biotic component interacting with each other also, with themselves also. So biotic and abiotic component of a given area interacting with each other forms a unit that is called ecosystem. Now in today's class, we have to study about the ecosystem. Moving on to the next aspect, that is component of ecosystem. What are the different components of ecosystem? Ecosystem having two type of components. One is biotic components. These are also called living components, and non-biotic components are abiotic components. Then move to this biotic components are divided into three categories. One, producers, second, consumers, and third is decomposers. Producers are those organisms which prepare the food with the help of process that is known as photosynthesis. So we all are aware that there are plants and some bacteria which comes under the category of green bacteria or photosynthetic bacteria or chemosynthetic bacteria. They produce the food and they comes under the category of producers. Now second category of living components or biotic component is consumers. Consumers are those organisms that depends on producers for their food, and consumers are divided into three categories: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Earlier in junior classes, you have studied that herbivores are there, carnivores are there, omnivores are there. So herbivores, all herbivores belongs to this first category, primary consumer, because they directly depend on the producers for their food. They are called herbivores, and rabbit, deer, zooplanktons in water, they all comes under the category of primary consumers. Now the secondary consumers are those organisms which depend on primary consumers. For example, frog. There are number of other examples also. They are generally carnivores because they are indirectly depends on producers for their food. They are secondary consumer. And tertiary consumer, I'm making clear that omnivores are not tertiary consumer. Omnivore can belong to any of the categories, secondary also as well as tertiary also. So tertiary consumers are generally top carnivores, top consumers which are present on top positions in the food chains like eagle, lion. So this is the classification of biotic components. Now, abiotic components are all non-living environmental factors, include sunlight, temperature, rainfall, water, humidity, soil, minerals, all the environmental factors comes under this category. Now come to the next, that is types of ecosystem. There are two types of ecosystem. One is natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. So what's the difference? Natural ecosystem is made by nature. They are existing in nature, and there are number of ecosystems such forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, desert ecosystem, then pond ecosystem, ocean ecosystem, and artificial ecosystems are man-made ecosystems, synthetic systems that are made by human, that are made by us. Like garden is one of the example, crop field, agriculture field where crops are grown by farmers. There are a number of organisms, birds are there, decomposers are also there, and then aquarium. Aquarium is also a man-made artificial ecosystem. Now moving on to the good example of natural ecosystem, that is pond ecosystem. This is the picture that depict all the components of this system. If we are you have seen that it is a pond, water is there, big fish is there, small fishes, insects are there, aquatic plants are there, phytoplanktons are there. Phytoplanktons are denoted by green. These are green microscopic plants that perform the photosynthesis, and they are the producers, major producers in the aquatic systems. And zooplanktons are small microscopic animals that are consumers, feed on phytoplanktons. They are animals, comes under the category of consumers. So plants are here, producer, all aquatic plants, phytoplanktons. I have mentioned that they are producers. Then consumers are of different categories. Suppose the organism like zooplanktons feed on phytoplankton, so they are primary consumers. Small fishes are and insects are secondary consumer, and these big fishes and birds like stork, crane, they are comes under the category of top consumers or tertiary consumers. And at the same time, decomposers are always bacteria and fungi. We have already discussed in our first video also. Bacteria and fungi are the decomposing organisms that decompose the material, that convert the complex food material, complex waste into its simpler form and return the nutrients back into the soil. See, if decomposers are not there on earth, our earth is full of dead bodies. Then so decomposers are very important to the ecosystem, to the environment, as they clean the environment, return the nutrients back into the soil, as well as they maintain the cycles, nutrient cycles in our atmosphere. Then we are coming to the abiotic components of the system. There are a number of abiotic components. Sunlight is there, water is there, temperature of water. This is bed, pond bed, bottom, that contains soil, minerals. So these all are abiotic components of this system. So with the help of this example, we can easily say that what are the different components. We can identify what are the different components of system. Producers are there, consumers are there, and decomposers are there. These all three are biotic component, living component, and abiotic components like sunlight, water, temperature, humidity, rainfall, soil, mineral. The number of abiotic environmental factors are abiotic components. So in this way, we are explaining all the components, types of ecosystem. I'm going for the quick revision. Then see, in ecosystem is the unit that shows interaction of biotic component with each other, as well as with the abiotic environment that surrounds them. And two type of components are there: biotic component, abiotic components. Biotic producers, consumers, decomposers. And abiotic environmental factor, type of ecosystems, natural, artificial, and pond ecosystem, just one example to explain everything about the ecosystem. This is all about for this ecosystem topic, and we'll connect in the next video on Saturday, where we are going to discuss the next topic of this chapter. And please go through with all the notes, chapter notes, as well as these presentation notes. Thank you. Have a good day. Study hard, stay at home, be safe.